All right. So the closed qualifiers are finally getting wrapped up. The North American one was completed this weekend, and today being Tuesday, is the last day of the Latin American qualifier. So I'll cover those, I don't know, tomorrow or in the next few days. So sometime between now and before SI actually starts, I'm going to wait until the LATAM one's done, and then I'll talk about the NA and the LATAM one together. And for this video, I'm just going to go over a couple things that were announced, leaked, revealed, whatever, however you want to call it. Okay, so first thing, call out left Wichita Wolves, and this was a little bit surprising. Him along with Forrest were sort of the long-standing duo from this roster, and well, Forrest already left, and so now here goes call out. So Wichita Wolves is just going to be sort of a completely different team than it used to be in the past. But right, it's not the end for call out. Where's he going? Let's see. All right, so next thing, Astralis, roster announcement tomorrow, and this was, a few days ago on the 27th. So they said that they would have a roster announcement on the 28th, and what was that roster announcement? Well, it was call out, right? So they picked up call out not as a player, but as a coach. I think I saw somebody a while back saying something about call out would make a good coach, and it doesn't too much have bearing on this pickup, I would imagine, but well, he is their coach now. Astralis did say that they wanted to pretty quickly fill their coaching position, and of course they need to fill the roster position, but the coach thing is technically optional, but they really wanted to fill it, and yeah, so they wasted no time. They picked up call out, so we're still waiting to see who their final player will be, but they do have a coach, so good for them. And good for call out. And the next thing we have, all right, role change. So I usually don't cover too much of non-NA stuff as far as roster changes and whatever go. But I had mentioned this one a few times, what the deal with the Cavano roster was. So anarchic role change here. And what does this say? Well, it is a little bit of a twit longer, and you can read the whole thing if you'd like. But it basically just says he's leaving the roster, but he's moving to the strategic coach position. So I don't know if that's strictly, I guess that's different from the coach position, right? Isn't it? It's Mr. Officer is their actual coach. So he's like co-coach or sub-coach or however you call it. Strategic coach anyway. So remaining with the org, but no longer on the playing roster. So we'll have to see who their new fifth is going to be. And what do we have next? Right. And this is just addressing a little bit of what went on with the NA calls. If you're watching that was quite tough. So, right, just the bit rate at the beginning before the whole thing just went down was really poor. Like the audio sounded terrible, or at least the audio from the casters. The game audio seemed fine, and the visuals were mostly fine. Every once in a while, there was this really annoying like ticking noise or whatever it was, and it was just terrible to watch. And this was the game. It was TSM versus Parabellum, and they got like 2 or 3 rounds in, and then the whole thing disconnected. And we didn't get to see any of the games until that night. But luckily, they'd only played the 2 winner semifinals games, so we got to see the rest of the games. But this is basically Blue addressing what happened, and I'll read the whole thing really quickly. Not sure if this was said. CCS Esports moved their entire production setup and pulled off a complete venue change in 5 hours in order to ensure we could broadcast as much as possible yesterday. Despite the issues, they are putting in a massive amount of effort to make up for it. So a lot of people were just talking mad shit on CCS and whatever. And so from the information that we've been given from CCS and for the casters and whatever, and of course they have a little bit of a prerogative to fluff it up a bit, but it just seems like it was the internet that was failing, so not any fault of the actual organizers themselves. But I will say that the green screen or whatever, just the blinding light behind Caliber Jacob and CDAPS was, it just didn't look especially good. So while the massive problems were not their fault, I have to say that maybe the production could have been a little bit more high quality. It looked a little bit embarrassing compared to other games, and maybe it's not something that they had a bunch of time to put into or a bunch of money even. It's just the qualifiers for SI, and so I imagine SI is going to look good. If you were watching the LATAM broadcast at all, it looks like Milosh is just in the SI venue at the stage or at the desk or whatever, and it looks pretty good. So, a lot of the stuff not really CCS's fault, so I think people, they were memeing on him and whatever, and that's, I guess, fine, but also people just were really riled up and whatnot when it wasn't really their fault. And okay, so I think, do I have 1 or 2 other things? Oh yeah, okay, so in regards to the SCS Pro-Am, so this is just the thing that the teams are trying to qualify for, the T2/T1 event that will be played between all the pro teams are supposed to have an invite, and then also whichever teams qualified through SCS, the tournaments, the splits, and all this stuff. And it was supposed to be played on LAN, and now it is moving to online, unfortunately. So, it is what it is, but, at least we'll get to see the event. Hopefully it'll still be fun and cool, and I'm sure it will be. And do I maybe have one more thing? Oh, yeah, okay. And the Beastcoast roster leak. So I talked about this in a previous video not too long ago. Oreos leaked or a troll leaked this roster, and at the time, yeah, I didn't think it was a legitimate leak. I thought it was just another joke kind of thing, like a previous one that we saw. But yeah, he responded with just the 5 names of 5 players in response to Beastcoast saying our roster hiding from Twitter or Reddit or whatever it was. But it was these 5 players. So it was Drip, Surf, Slash, Sweater, and Anthony. So I mean, I guess this is the roster, and it's not like they're just even playing together in a pub. They're in a scrim, as you can see here by the score line, and this is what I don't know what they go by these days. Is it Gasher's Goons or Aqualix, whichever, playing against these guys, and apparently they're getting popped. But so yeah, I guess this is Beastcoast roster, and I can't say that it looks like a top tier roster or anything. It has potential. Just several players that have played in Pro League before, and Slash was very good. Surf, I guess, is next up here. Sweater, everybody thinks is quite excellent and was deserving of a shot in Pro League. And then Anthony was, he was fairly good on Beastcoast, probably their most consistent player, consistently good player overall. And right, so hopefully they can improve from getting 3-7 by Gasher's Goons, but a fun roster, if not a good roster at least. So they'll be fun to watch, and I'll be rooting for them in some capacity, I guess. Hopefully they can at least perform better than Beastcoast was before, right? And it's a pretty low bar that XSET and Beastcoast set. Even if these guys are low down, at least if they can get closer in points to the other rosters, or maybe make some upsets, or maybe they destroy everybody. Who really knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens, and I am looking forward to watching them play. Right. So again, in the next few days, hopefully I'll have the NA and LATAM qualifier coverage video up. And okay, with all of that being said, catch you in the next video.